Welcome to another edition of the Boston Sports Brew. The Patriots lose Revis to the Jets. Is the sky falling in New England? Over on the ice, the Bruins are streaking in the right direction, but games against Tampa, Pittsburgh, and Washington are coming up. Can the Bees continue to buzz? And the Celtics are coming off two big wins against the Heat and Grizzlies, the latter without their lucky star Isaiah Thomas. How are they doing this? We'll try and figure it out on this edition of the Boston Sports Brew. All right, Mattious, I was wrong. I was definitely wrong.
Why? What do you mean you were wrong?
I was wrong. I said that McCourty was going to go and Revis was going to stay. That the Patriots were going to pony up for Revis.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. I learned my lesson. I knew this beforehand, but I got caught up in it all. And I actually thought that I honestly, truly believed the Patriots would overpay for Revis. And now I definitely know that there is no way in hell, no matter what happens, that the Patriots will never overpay for a player ever as long as Bill Belichick is in New England.
I don't know if you can say that, Droz, but back to your point, yeah, I feel like everybody was wrong. Everybody thought that finally, after 10 years of going through terrible secondaries, through the draft, through free agency, we found two guys that came in and they brought us not only back to the Super Bowl, but we won the Super Bowl. All right. Yeah. Guess what? One of them was actually involved in the most important play of the game. Browner was the guy who set up Butler to get the interception. Revis had a hell of a game. Shut up, Richard Sherman, with your 2-4 crap. He gave up one touchdown pass, which was the only reception he gave up the entire game. The fact of the matter is,
he gave up 3 catches the entire playoff.
Yes, the Patriots finally found a secondary. And what did they do? They didn't sign either of them. I am not surprised. This is Belichick being Belichick, but you cannot say right now that this team is better than they were last year. They are significantly worse, and you could put an argument that each team in the division has gotten significantly better on the defensive side of the ball. You could say that the Patriots now have the weakest defense out of all AFC East teams.
Well, that's completely true. That's actually the bigger point in this. The fact that, yes, the Bills, you sit there, they were already one of the best defenses in the NFL. Add in Rex Ryan, and actually that's where I thought Revis would end up going if he didn't go to the Patriots, but that did not happen. Add in Rex Ryan, that defense is going to shine. The Jets, they're sitting there. Cromartie apparently is going back to the Jets as well. So now you got Revis, Cromartie, and everybody else that was there. Todd Bowles, an ex-cornerback. He actually coached Cromartie in Arizona last season, so you have all that there. And then Miami obviously brings in the foot stomper there, and the Ndamukong Suh. He's over there now. So that beefs up their defensive line, and their defense was already pretty solid. So you have, 3 teams that have definitely upgraded on defense, and then you have the Patriots, who, yes, they get Devin McCourty back, but once again, he's very, very good, but he's a safety, and he's not a strong safety. So he's a free safety. He can play over the top, but he's not the man that's going to shut down he's not a shutdown corner, first off. He just isn't. He's back there. He's great. I like McCourty. I'm happy he's back, but he's definitely not Revis. And Browner, Browner can be argued because the fact of the matter is he has not played in every game. Last year he was suspended for the first 4 games, and he missed the first 7 games, I believe, because he was trying to get used to the Patriots scheme and get ready to get on the field. So if you look at his career, I don't think he's ever played a full 16 games, and he's 30 years old. So Browner is another thing. I do think he added something to the defense just by the way, with his size and the way he could knock people off the ball or knock people off the line of scrimmage. So he is a loss, but I'm definitely more worried about Revis because, like I said last week, I thought the Patriots learned when they had Talib how big it was to have a cornerback that could shut down one man completely every game, and they just got rid of him. So the only thing I could see positive about this is that maybe, just maybe, everybody's going to go one direction, which is go for the corners, and the Patriots will now go, okay, you're leaving all the big men underneath, all the defensive linemen, obviously not Ndamukong Suh, and all the pass rushers, the linebackers, the front seven, which back in 2007, what beat the Patriots? The Giants' defensive front seven. So maybe the Patriots will try to swing it back that way and change the way the defenses work, because the value becomes now in the front seven. Patriots are all about value, and maybe that's why they're going this way.
Yeah, valid point you bring up there, Droz. I mean, you have money to spend now. They're about at $10 million at the cap. They're going to make more moves. I mean, with that being said, you got Danny Amendola's contract. They just restructured today, and Amendola pretty much took less money to remain with the Patriots. We know that that's pretty much a Patriots thing. Every single year they approach a couple guys, and it's either you restructure or not. Ask Logan Maggins about that last year. But back to Browner and Revis, I am a little worried. I know it's March 12th. I understand that there's a lot of time left. Finagle something. Belichick, Patriots in the draft with cornerbacks, they suck. We all know they suck. The only guy that I can come off the top of my head that was a decent corner that they drafted was Asante Samuel. I feel like everybody else, I could just go on and on with free agency signings with Lee Bodden and Delta O'Neal, and then you got guys like Darius Butler, and I could go on and on. I
like Dennard. If
Dennard's fine, but Razai Dallin, and we could go on and on identifying guys that they've taken in the draft at the cornerback position, and they suck. All right, so that's what worries me, one, about them not re-signing either of these guys. I was a little surprised that they did not take Browner. I mean, were they trying to make that last-second push by saying, okay, well, we need that extra money to maybe get Revis, so we cannot get Browner? But now, as we see, Browner is signed with the Saints, so he's obviously not coming back. And I never thought he would come back after they declined his option. So it's going to be interesting. You mentioned, Revis took away half the field. Aqib Talib, when he was healthy, he did a pretty good job for us too. Those guys pretty much transformed that secondary, and now we're back to like stage one. I don't want to go back to the days of Earth, Wind, and Fire Moreland and Sterling Moore and Hank Poteet, and these guys, they're not good. You pick up these just another guys or scrubs off the street. It doesn't work. So you bring up a valid point. Are they going to focus on the front seven? I mean, they go out there, they get sheared from Cleveland. I will not lie. Who knows a lot about a Cleveland player? Not too many people, because Cleveland sucks. But this guy came in from Pittsburgh in a rookie year, got about 8.5 sacks. I look at his stats and, okay, why are his stats going down? Every single year, his stats are going down. Well, could be injury. No, he's played in most games. He did flip positions, yes. He also had 3 different defensive coordinators for 4 years. It's not easy to learn systems. It really isn't. So I'll be curious to see how he's going to increase this team. We lose Will Fork. Okay, well, we have Easley as a first-round pick, so of course we're expecting more out of him. You hear rumors now that the Patriots might go after Terrence Knighton, pork roast, out of a pot roast, out of Denver. Well, he looks like a huge pork chop, but that's another story. So, what are we going to do? There's no way that we're just going to sit tight here. I know it's only March 12th, like I said before, and go in with the team we have now. There is the draft. I don't trust Belichick when it comes to the draft, when it comes to cornerback. So, what are they going to do? That's the remaining question. But fact of the matter is, they failed. I mean, you and I both want to Revis back. Everybody wanted Revis back. Maybe we got inclined to, they won the Super Bowl. But you're right. They went back to the Pats being the Pats, and they are never going to overpay for a player, period.
Yes, but let me, okay. So my initial reaction when this happened was, oh, man, this is trouble. They don't have Revis, and like I said last week, Talib was so big, Revis was so big, I really thought that transformed the team, the defense, obviously, like you said. But the more I think about it, the more I'm happy that they did not overpay for Revis. Because the way the Patriots have won all the time is by being the Patriots, by not overpaying, by not doing things. Let me take a play out of that they did in the past that was not Patriots-like and was when they were on more of, not their downfall, because they were still obviously winning 10-plus games
I'm going to bring back my boy Adelius Thomas.
No, I'm not going to bring that one up. I'm going to bring up the 4th and 2 against Indianapolis, the year Matt Castle was the quarterback. And they tried, the year after Matt Castle. So that when Brady was back, Brady's first year back, they had that win. They were on the 20-something yard line with 4th and 2, and they tried passing the ball to Kevin Falk, and Falk misses it by a spot, basically, a yardage spot. The Patriots never would have done that back in the day. They would have punted the ball. They wouldn't have cared who was on their defense. They would have trusted whoever they had. Belichick would have punted the ball because the numbers say that's the smart move. He didn't. He went for it. They became these glamour boys when Randy Moss came in and all this stuff. That was when they struggled. When they got back to their roots, like they did the previous couple of years. And you could say Revis came in, but Revis came in for a deal. They started winning again. They started playing more tough-nosed football. They were winning with Kembrell Tompkins catching game-winning touchdown passes. People that you don't expect. Brandon LaFell comes off the scrap heap. He has a huge season last year. All these guys coming back like the days when David Givens did it, Deion Branch. They won a Super Bowl with Randall Gay starting at cornerback, for gosh sakes. This is how the Patriots operate. And this is how they operate their best. When they try going off course, they end up losing. When they stay on their course and they stick to their game, yeah, maybe they won't win the Super Bowl this year, but in the end, it will be for the best, and it has always been for the best. And I should have learned that lesson many years ago. I lost it at first, but I'm back on board just even 2 days later. Good move, Patriots. Do not overpay for Revis. I'm happy you didn't. You'll figure it out. And if everybody wants to go get cornerbacks right now because the Seahawks did it and then the Patriots did it and that seemed to win a couple Super Bowls, then the Patriots will go get all the best defensive linemen in the world and beat you that way.
You're having that cuckoo juice again this week, Droz. Fine. Who's going to play quarterback next year?
They're going to find someone. Like I said, they won a Super Bowl with Randall Gay, and like you said, Earthwind Moreland was in there for part of a season that they won a Super Bowl. They'll find someone. If Dennard comes back, Dennard, he had injury issues. He's had issues with the law in Nebraska. But when Dennard has been on the field, if his confidence is right, he's fine. Now, Logan Ryan, I don't think his confidence is coming back at this point, although maybe with all those other Rutgers players out there, he can hopefully get it together. You got Chung and you got McCourty back there. So you at least got the safety positions locked up nicely. I think they both did a great job last season. McCourty's been great for a long period of time, and Chung, before he left the Patriots, looked like a very good player at times. He'd be off and on, but he was much more consistent last season, so I was very impressed with Chung. Now, corner-wise, I know you don't want to have Kyle Arrington as your number 1 or even 2 corner, but if it comes down to it in one way or another, then that's the way it's got to be. I do think that the Patriots will find a way to get somebody else in here. I don't know who that is right now, and I don't think it'll be someone that they get off in the draft. I think it'll be some kind of veteran. They'll bring him in, and we'll go from there with that. But they're gonna try to take what everybody else isn't taking. So right now, it's like a fantasy baseball draft. There's a run on closers. Anybody that's played fantasy sports before, there's a run on closers. Everybody takes closers. There's no value in taking a closer now, though, in the 6th round because you could get, I don't know, say you have the 8th pick. You get the 8th best closer. That guy is probably not that good, probably loses his job because closers lose jobs all the time. Well, now the Patriots are saying, okay, there's a run on secondary players. So there's all these wide open, great defensive, or maybe not great, but there's defensive linemen and linebackers available to help make the team better. They got Sherd. That is something they can do now because of the fact that everybody's going after secondary players. I think they're going to take advantage of the system as they always do. This is the blueprint. This is the playing field they're working with, and they know better than anybody how to manipulate that field so they get the best players they can get. Secondary players have no good value right now because everybody wants them. So the value for secondary players, you're going to overpay, but you're not going to overpay for players like Sherd and others that play on the defensive line or linebacker because they're being undervalued now. So Patriots will go for the undervalued players. That has proven in the past to be a winning way. Just because the Seahawks won one way doesn't mean it's the only way to win. The Giants, like I said, in 2007, beat the Patriots with a front 7 that was ridiculous and horrible corners.
The rant. He's on the rant. He's sticking up for his Patriots, ladies and gentlemen. Not surprising, the number 1 Patriot fan in the world, Brian Droz. But that being said, I'll ask my question again. Who are they going to get? Fine, you can say they're going to get somebody. Well, who is it? I mean, look what's out there. There's not a lot out there free agency when it comes to veterans. I don't trust them in the draft. The guys that they have in their rosters, you're right. Logan Ryan lost his confidence. Is he going to gain it back? Who knows? Is he going to pull a McCourty and go play safety and be great? We don't know that. Probably not. With that being said, we got Dennard. Dennard, please stay out of Nebraska. But that's another story within it. With that being said, who knows with him too? I mean, and then Arrington, best player in the AFC Championship game against Indianapolis. Yes, he shut down T.Y. Hilton, sucked in the Super Bowl. Malcolm Butler, we don't know what's going to happen with him. I feel like the Patriots, when it comes to the secondary, they're like the Red Sox when it comes to their rotation. They don't have aces. They have a bunch of 3s and 4s back there, and that's not going to do their job. Okay, so fine. Let's focus on the front seven. The front seven. We have a budding superstar in Collins. We have Hightower, who had that labrum surgery. He might not be ready to the start of the year. Maybe that's why they did go and get that guy from Cleveland Shared. We've got Mayo coming back. Are they going to keep him? Are they not going to keep him? Who knows with the amount of money? And then you have the weakness, in my opinion, which is the front line. You lose Will Fork. He was on the backside of his career anyway. That's fine. You got Easley coming back. You got the end solidified. We do know that. But back when the Patriots won those Super Bowls, yeah, we had crappy corners, but we had a solidified front seven. I don't feel like we have a solidified front seven right now. I feel like the weakness right now is the interior part of the line. Okay, so yeah, I don't know, Droz. They could be focusing, and maybe they do get Pork Chop. I'm gonna just stop calling him Pork Chop. Screw his real name, Pot Roast. I'm calling him Pork Chop. So Pork Chop also said Denver was gonna win the Super Bowl. So suck on that. But anyways, Pork Chop, come join us. That would be perfectly fine by me. If they go out and get Terrence Knighton, the guy can play. He's young. That would be perfectly fine. But I'm worried. On March 12th, I'm worried. But there's a lot of time left, ladies and gentlemen, and yeah.
March 12th, you're worried.
Yes.
Exactly. There's a lot of time. I'm glad you mentioned that.
I am, but I can't sit here right now and be like, oh, I'm perfectly fine, because what the hell? We got to talk about what they did. That's the whole point of talking about sports. We got to talk about what they did and how we're feeling right now. That's when I get aggravated. People calling in sports talk radio, like, what don't you? I got to express my opinion about right now. Long term, but I feel like they're probably going to figure it out, or they will not have what they have right now as the starting cornerbacks. And if they do, I'm sorry. Even you can admit it, they're going to be screwed. But with that being said, on March 12th, yeah, I'm worried.
Well, look, the last time they had that real bad season with the corners was the year after in 2005 when after they beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and they brought in I think that was the year they had Delta O'Neal and everybody, and they definitely struggled that year. But the fact, no matter who comes in, whatever the corners are, I still think that the Patriots find a way, because they've always found a way. They found a way when everyone sits there and saying that they can't with receivers. You're saying that you have to go with what we have right now. What we have right now is a Bill Belichick Patriots football team. And a Bill Belichick Patriots football team has always succeeded. That's all we've seen. So that's all I know, and that's why I'm saying, besides the first season when they only won 5 games, that they'll be fine. They'll figure it out.
What the hell are you saying?
With Dobson and Tompkins.
What the hell are you saying? That I didn't say that. I told them to go with what they have right now.
What do you mean? What they have right now? Yes. No, I didn't say that you said to go with what they have right now. What you said that you have to go. You have to make your opinion based on what is happening right now, or how you feel right now about the team.
Yes, correct.
Yes, and how I feel about the team right now is the same as I always feel about the Patriots. It can't really be changed, because the fact is Bill Belichick's here. If he left, then my opinion would change.
How can you not be? How can you not be frustrated or worried, Droz, when you just lost possibly the top 5, one of the top 5, top 10 best players on defense in the game? How can you not sit here right now and say like everything's going to be fine?
Because they've done it before. They've lost players like that before. They've been fine. They've won Super Bowls where they had Ty Law, who got them to the Super Bowl and then was out in the playoffs. They've won big games without their best players. They just seem to do it. They're the Patriots. I don't know. They just do it. They've done it in the past. They just know how to do it. As long as Belichick's there, they know how to flow. What about 2 years ago when they lost Wilfork, Mayo, Vollmer?
They didn't win it all.
Gronkowski. They made it to the AFC Championship.
They didn't win it all. They had deficiencies, and yeah, that's defense was a big one, don't you think?
Yeah, and
I don't want
they
this
still
team.
made the AFC Championship.
Fine, they didn't win. That's my point. They won with these guys. These guys had great communication back there. Now you're going to build that with another set of guys, and guys that I don't think are capable to be that good at their positions. All right, the Wolverine, I mean, drafted, he hasn't lived up to his potential. Shocking. Another guy that Bill Belichick drafted when it comes to a cornerback, that's maybe not that good. All right. That's why I'm worried. Do they figure it out? Yeah, they figure it out. But when you are a fan of the New England Patriots, you get spoiled, and it is what it is. Yeah, it's a great season if you make it to the AFC Championship game. But last time I checked, TB12 might think he's going to play till 50, but we can look back on guys that have played in the league. He's going to start to decline. He is a human being. He's not a robot like he thinks. I hope he's a robot, but normally, yeah, he's going to be a human. He's going to start to decline. So with that being said, you don't have a lot of years left when it comes to Tom Brady. I need to see what's going to happen, okay, when it comes to the rest of the roster. So on March 12th, I will say again I'm worried, but that could change really quickly. Maybe a week, maybe 2 months. You never know. Maybe they'll figure it out, and maybe they will go out and get somebody via trade, because it's not going to be in draft. There's nobody out there that's just going to magically step in on the 32 position of the first round that is going to be there as your 1 or 2 cornerback, in my opinion. So yeah, I'll wait. Right now, I'm worried. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here when, all the way now with the draft coming up. You got the combine being done. What are the Pats going to do? Are they going to trade up? Who knows? I mean, they traded up and got Mayo before, not as obviously as far down, but when they like someone, they'll make a move. All right, so yeah, it's a valid point. This is not the team that's going to be going into next year, but as of right now, you look around and maybe we're all like sucked into what we see. Like, ooh, they got Sue the Dolphins, and then they got Revis. The Jets, and then we got Jerry Hughes going back there. You got LaShawn McCoy going there. Yeah, their defense has got better, but the fact of the matter is, every team that I just mentioned, I'm not really a big fan in who they have at quarterback. All right, so if I had to pick still who's going to win the AFC East right now, I'd still go with the Patriots. All right, but that ship has sailed, and what I mean by that is, as a fan of the Pats, you don't expect to win the AFC East anymore. You expect to make it far into the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. They did it with Revis and Browner. We're going to see whether or not they made a mistake. Okay? And it's going to take a little bit more time to see whether or not they did make a mistake. I mean, it's not going to, it's not, I'm not going to make an opinion on that until I actually see what this team looks like for the 2015-2016 season.
And we'll see if the Bruins made a mistake by not trading for anybody at the trade deadline. Well, besides Maxime Talbot and Brett Conley. You know, the Bruins, and in this case, I'm not going to say anything, Mattious, because I've been sitting here tooting the Bruins horn as much as I can. They still have a long way to go, but they have looked pretty darn nice in their last 6 games. 5-0-1. They got wins against Philadelphia and Ottawa, 2 teams trailing them for that final playoff spot. One against Philadelphia where Brad Marchand scores with under 15 seconds to play to tie it in regulation at 2, and then wins it in overtime with the game-winning goal. And then a 3-1 victory over Ottawa. As well, you sandwich in there a victory over Detroit, who is ahead of them. They actually could catch Detroit. I mean, now I shouldn't go that far ahead. But the fact of the matter is, Detroit's only 6 or 7 points ahead of the Bruins at this point. And the Bruins, they're streaking. Once again, they're streaking towards in the right direction. They're winning without David Krejci. Louis Eriksson, I'm going to say sorry to Louis Eriksson because he has looked great. 3 goals in the last 4 games, and he's been in front of the net. He's been great on the power play. His puck handling has been great. I don't know. I feel bad after watching him the past week, pretty much. And yeah, I'm going to say sorry to Louis Eriksson. Louis Eriksson, I'm sorry. You've looked great. But most of the Bruins have looked very good at this point. And Tuukka Rask has been in there. Nicholas Svedberg getting a win for the Bruins. That's big because they need someone that can spell Rask, and that's nice to see. I think the Bruins look good. Not that I didn't think they would. And I think they're ready to hold course. They got Tampa Bay. they got Pittsburgh, they got Washington, and actually, ladies and gentlemen, if they win those games, there's a great chance that at the end of this weekend, they're going to be ahead of Washington for the 7th playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, last time we talked, Droz, we both agreed that they had to win all those games at home. Well, you know what? They didn't win against Calgary, and they were about 14 seconds away from Droz receiving a text from Mattious, almost in panic mode. But like you said, Marchand got that goal, the overtime winner. I mean, almost took care of business. They got 5 out of the possible 6 points, and then they go on the road at Ottawa and they beat Ottawa. I'm not gonna get excited about any of this because it's what I expected them to do. They're besides Detroit, they're not really those teams that we just mentioned here are teams that they should be beating. Am I glad that they're doing it? Yeah, I am glad. The Bruins look more like the Bruins. Okay, what I mean by that is they're doing the gritty type of things, the intensity's being raised, and the players that need to perform are performing, like Brad Marchand. All right, and it's even better. You got guys like Spooner scoring goals, going back to his hometown in Ottawa in front of all his fans and scoring 2 goals. All his friends and family and fans back there scoring goals in Ottawa. Great, and then you got Pastrnak involved too. Yeah, you're going to need that, and Talbot has added the grittiness that has been missing from that fourth line.
He's looked great. Talbot's been fantastic on that fourth line. Great addition by, once again, Peter Chiarelli.
That's fine. I agree. He has looked great with Paille out there, scoring shorthand goals. The Bruins look like the Bruins again, and that's a good thing. We got 16 games left in the season. They need to start playing well. People are gaining confidence. You got Claude coming out saying that, yeah, you start winning games, people's confidence comes out, and he's right. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in these next 3 games. The next 3 games are going to, in my opinion, are going to see whether or not the Bruins have taken that next step here, possibly peaking at the right time, or if they're status quo. And it starts today against Tampa Bay at home. Then you got on the road at Pittsburgh, and then you got at Washington. You got 3 teams that are ahead of you in the standings, 3 teams that statistically are better than you, and it's going to be interesting to see if the Bruins can possibly get some points out of these games. You got Tampa tonight, tough matchup.
They always beat Tampa.
It is at home. You just took
tougher for Tampa.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. They seem to have Tampa's number, and then you got the road games afterwards against teams that in the opposite division. But like you said, they could possibly hop Washington at the end of this, which is very possible. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do in these games. It starts tonight, but especially those road games. Go on the road against tough opponents, teams that are they're playing decent themselves. Are the Bruins going to continue this? And it's positive to see. We got Krejci skating this morning. You got Marchand, like I said, those young guys starting to step their games up. Char putting the puck in the net. They are looking better. Like we said, they need to start playing better, and they have looked better since our last show. Svedberg getting the win against Detroit. Rask playing like Rask can play. We know that. He's an excellent goaltender. I feel like a lot of the times the puck is going in the net this year. There's been a lot of issues when it comes to the defense, so that's kind of hurting him and his statistics. But the Bruins, hopefully, these are signs to come. And we'll see it in the next 3 games, and hopefully the next time we have this show, whether it's before that Buffalo game or not, they take 2 or 3 of these games. It would be good to see them take at least 2 or 3. If they take 1 or 3, it's not the end of the world. If they take 3 or 3, that's great. If they go 0 and 3, it's not going to be good. It's a show and tell that they are who they are, and they may be not that great, and they're going to get bounced in the first round. But these 3 games will definitely show us what's going to happen, I think.
Well, I in the end of ends, this is when they have to start playing their best hockey.
Yeah, they have to.
Even though it's not the playoffs, they aren't they're not for sure getting in the playoffs unless they play well.
Exactly. You saw what happened last year. They weren't playing that great. Bam, bounced.
But the thing is, the year that they beat Toronto when they went into the playoffs, they weren't playing that great going into those playoffs, and then they almost got eliminated. They had the lead, they blew it. They had the 3-1 lead on Toronto. They get to a game 7. Toronto has that the 4-1 lead after Kessel scores with 10 minutes to play or something in the third period. And the Bruins win that game. They score 3 goals, Bergeron, whatever. They win. And then from there, they make it to the Stanley Cup final, but then everyone gets too cocky and they lose to Chicago. The fact is, the Bruins right now look great. Tuukka Rask, let's back up to Tuukka Rask. The game against Calgary, when they lost that game in the shootout, the goal was in like the 9th shootout round, and it was a defenseman for Calgary. I don't recall his name, I'm sorry, but he'd only had one other shot in a shootout, and he'd hit it. And it was one of the most spectacular goals I've seen in a while. I mean, he stopped Tuukka. Tuukka literally went one way, and then all this guy had to do was just tap it into the net, and that was it, and that's how he won. But he faked out Tuukka so well. It was a great goal. So that was their one loss to Calgary. Otherwise, Tuukka's been great. Svedberg came in. I thought he was a little shaky in the first period against Detroit, but he got it together, and he played well. Svedberg played well enough, and 36 saves or something. I mean, he hung in there, and that's what you need out of your backup goaltender. So that's good as well. I love to see that the goal situation is working well. I wish Dougie Hamilton still making some bad moves against Detroit.
Yeah.
There was a goal that did not happen, but once again, the puck comes in front of the net, and Dougie's great on offense, and he does most of the time he's great even on defense, but he always has that bonehead play, and he literally was in front of the net. Tuukka's sitting there. Svedberg's sitting there, and I'm like, oh no, now it's Svedberg. So Dougie takes the puck and just hands it to the Detroit player.
Yes.
Literally, because he's like, I think he was panicking because the puck was in front of the net, so he just wanted to get it out of there, and he just gave it to the Detroit player. And luckily, the Detroit player just whiffed. But if that weren't to happen, that would have probably been a goal right there. So Hamilton, once again, has to stop doing that.
Yes, you're right. Every time he does one of those now, it makes me think of you, which is kind of scary. But you're right. He has those bonehead maneuvers that, for some reason, happen a little too frequently than we would like as Bruins fans. But first off, back to these stupid, idiotic shootouts. I hate shootouts. Shootouts suck. Tuukka Rask said it. They're terrible. I'm not just saying that because the Bruins suck at shootouts with them themselves, but shootouts are terrible. And the best sport in the world, or worldwide, I'm not saying it's the best, but the most popular, I'll rescind my statement, the most popular sport in the world, what we call soccer, football, not the American football, but football all over the world, the World Cup. You see shootouts there. I hate that too. I know it's human beings. What are you going to do? What are you going to do on skates too? Are you going to shorten it down to 4-on-4 for 10 minutes instead of 5? You're going to go 3-on-3. I just hate shootouts, okay? And the Bruins do not have anybody that's good at shootouts, so it makes me look like I'm just saying it because it's a fan. No, I do not like the way that games end when it comes to those things. And you're right, the guy on Calgary, and I apologize for not remembering the name too, but that move was ridiculous. And by that time, who knows? I mean, I watched that shootout. It was just frustrating. It was probably one of the most excruciating times to watch the Bruins because they just went down. You got guys with the puck popping on them, and then you got Torrey Krug just firing a slap shot, and it's like,
well, he fell on his butt.
Yes. Well, what the hell are those guys doing out there? That was awful. I felt like I was watching like midgets or like mites.
Well, the whole problem with that was why did Bergeron go 7th in the shootout? Because he scored first, and that was okay. Now I'll be critical because Bergeron scored, and he was the only guy that scored for the Bruins. If we're gonna go critical on any game here, Bergeron should have gone earlier in that shootout. I don't understand why he didn't. I mean, he's definitely one of the better scorers on the team. You had Pasternak going first. You had Krug. I guess he's still a defenseman.
What the hell is Torrey Krug? Yes, what the hell is Torrey Krug? Torrey freaking Krug is shooting second in a shootout. What the hell is Claude smoking? Is he on the goo-goo juice that you keep drinking for these shows? I mean, what the hell is going on? Torrey Krug steps up. I know we do not have creative goal scorers, but I mean, if you think of the Bruins roster, okay, in my opinion, here you go. You want to do a shootout? These are the guys that you need to be involved in the shootout. Brad Marchand. You need Patrice Bergeron. Possibly Danny Pryor. He seems to have some decent moves. Maybe Riley Smith, Pasternak. Yeah, those 5. And you got Patrice Bergeron shooting 7th. Seriously, what do you need? Did he need to go back to the locker room to take a piss or something? How do you not have him shooting in the top 3 is beyond me. And yeah, I am going to be critical because who knows? It could be a point we might need later on in the year. We ended up losing, and that could possibly cost us. I'm curious to know what goes in philosophy-wise and how does Claude choose the guys when it comes to shootouts. But me, I hate shootouts. They suck. They will always suck to me. It's a terrible way to end the game. Why can't we just have ties? They have ties normally. Ties aren't the best, but shootouts are worse in my opinion. Have ties, go back to it, fine, and go back to games being 3 points if you get a win, so teams will be more aggressive. They'll say, ooh, we need those 3 points. They'll be more aggressive. They'll be better on the ice and possibly put more guys up there. They'll lead to more goal scoring. I don't know, but right now, the system they have right now, it sucks.
Well, you just threw that out there, that the 3 points, go back 3 points, and I actually hadn't thought about that much until you just threw that out there. But I actually, right now, just hearing you say that sounds like a great idea.
Yes!
Go back to 3 points, make them play aggressive, give 1 point for the tie, and that's the end. No points, obviously, for
Mattious
the
always has great ideas. I mean, put the stun thing on Buckholz's arm, so if he falls behind in the pitch count, you stun him. This time I'm saying go back to the 3-point system. I think it would be great. Teams will have to have different philosophies out there. And yeah, you said that they could possibly catch Detroit, the Bruins, but no, Droz, they probably can't because you only get 2 points for a friggin' win, and then if you lose in overtime, you get 1. So it's like so tough, and they say it every year. If you're in good position by like Thanksgiving in the NHL or like a little bit after Thanksgiving, if you're in the playoff hunt, you're probably going to get in. If you're not in the playoff hunt, you're not going to get in. And it's true. If you look at the stats, it's true because it's really hard to move in hockey because of how many opportunities you have to get points. You lose a game, you get a point. What the hell kind of crap is that? Seriously.
Yeah, I don't know how exciting the shootout is either. I mean,
it's not exciting anymore. It's lost its thing. The shootouts on a nightly basis. I remember growing up as a kid. Oh, a breakaway, and you get like a penalty shot. That was so exciting. But if that happened in a game now, no, it's not exciting anymore. They need to get rid of this crap. Gary Bettman, listen to me. Get rid of this crap.
Get rid of this crap. Get rid of this crap.
Mattious is going on a rant. I don't care. It's true, though, man. Anybody who thinks shootouts are good for hockey, get your head examined. Okay? It's a terrible way to end a hockey game. They got to come up with some type of system. Like I said before, maybe go longer 4-on-4, maybe go 3-on-3. Yeah, if you go 3-on-3 or 4-on-4 for longer.
3-on-3.
Guys are going to score, though. You laughed. Guys are going to score.
Well, of course they will, because people are going to fall over on the ice of dehydration or whatever.
No, they're going to score because there's not a lot of guys on the ice. You're going to have numerous opportunities to put the puck in the net. I'm telling you. Bettman, listen to Mattious.
No, look, I have not thought of any of this, folks. So first off, I can't sit here and say that I have.
Oh, that's fine, Droz. I've thought of it. I've watched too many of these shootouts now, and I will keep saying it. I don't care. I'll say it a million times. It's not because the Bruins suck at them. I just cannot stand watching these things. I really can't. And even in like I said, soccer, I can't stand as a fan of that too. But I'll put a really, really big argument that over hockey. I mean, those guys can't just have a seat on the bench and relax for a little bit. In soccer, maybe give them more substitutions possibly, but any sport that ends in your sport stopping what it naturally does and then puts it into the offensive position is moronic in my opinion. It's absolutely moronic.
Well, they're doing it, so that's something for the future, and hopefully the Bruins' future leads to some wins this weekend. Now, going back to what's going on over the weekend, Pittsburgh, Washington. So after Tampa Bay Thursday night, you have Pittsburgh on Saturday at Pittsburgh, 1 p.m. game, and then at Washington, 7:30 p.m. So that's not too bad. Pittsburgh traveling from Pittsburgh to Washington. Pittsburgh obviously is a scoring machine, and they defensively they've been good for, I don't know, Pittsburgh, it feels like it's been good ever since they've did that whole thing where they got Malkin, Crosby, and Andre Fleury with the first or second pick for 3 straight years. But that team, I mean, the Bruins seem to go back and forth with them. I'm not too worried. They're not going to be able to score with Pittsburgh, so they're going to have to play strong defense to be able to get through that, and probably have a great game from Rask or whoever's in net. And I'm going to guess Rask doesn't get both those games. So whether it's going to be Saturday or Sunday, I would probably, if I were the Bruins, actually, you know what? I'd probably put Svedberg, as much as this, I'd probably put Svedberg in the net Saturday, only because Sunday is against Washington, and that could be for an opportunity to move into the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference playoff race. Now, that all depends, I guess, on Thursday's game against Tampa Bay. But I'm trying to figure out how I would set up the goaltending situation for Saturday, Sunday. Because you can't – I don't think it's smart back-to-back to put Tuukka out there. And especially because with this run where the other goaltenders, Subban did not do well and Svedberg had not been playing, he's played way too many games. And that used to be a problem with Martin Brodeur later in his career. Earlier in his career, it was fine because he's younger, and I guess Tuukka's fine. He's young, but you don't want to blow out, take everything out of Tuukka right now when he's going to hopefully be needed for the playoffs. So I think maybe even though Pittsburgh's the team that can score, I think the bigger game might be the game against Washington. So I might sit Tuukka in Saturday's contest and then save him for Sunday.
That's a valid point you bring up, Droz. With that being said, every game that Tuukka Rask has actually played in after a back-to-back, guess what? The Bruins have lost this year. Okay? So that's good. Maybe they should put Svedberg in. I don't know if Claude's going to get cute and say, you know what? We need these games. I'm going to go Rask, and then we got Buffalo at home after these. Buffalo sucks, like the worst team in the league. Maybe play Svedberg then. I don't know. I think that I hope he plays Svedberg in one of these games. That's the last thing we need is to him keep on riding Rask like absolutely insane like he did before he put Subban in there. We all know what happened with that. And then since then, Svedberg's actually gotten a couple calls, played the New Jersey game, played the Detroit game. They won both games. I'll be curious to see. I don't think it would be the right move to play Rask at all these games. Mindset-wise, I would like to see Svedberg actually play in the Washington game over the Pittsburgh game. I think that Pittsburgh, I think we need Rask in the net over Washington just because they're a better scoring team. So back to the point I said earlier, I need to see what the Bruins are going to do in these three games. They're playing better teams. What can they do against the better teams? Are they going to show that they can play with these guys now? Are they going to start to peak here against all teams, or are they just going to beat the teams that they should beat and not play as well against these better teams? Because even the teams that they should beat here at home, they struggled a little bit. You can't deny that. They lost to Calgary at home in overtime, and then you got Marchand, even against in that Philly game. That was a close game, all right? So go on the road after tonight, win one, maybe win all three of them. That would be awesome. But take 2 out of 3, and I think the Bruins are going to be showing me individually something if they win these next 2 out of 3.
Well, a team that's winning games that they probably shouldn't be winning is the Boston Celtics. Memphis Grizzlies game just the other night, win 95-92. The Celtics without their star or newfound star, Isaiah Thomas, who's out with a back injury. They somehow win the game 95-92, coming off 2 amazing plays, maybe 3 amazing plays at the end of the game. One real amazing one. Evan Turner throws the ball in to Marcus Smart, who, by the way, before this has 1 basket all game. He goes up like an alley-oop, catches the ball. Courtney Lee hammers him, and Smart puts it in the hoop. He's running towards the hoop like it could be an alley-oop dunk. And essentially it is an alley-oop because he jumps, catches the ball, puts it in, and then Lee hammers him. So he goes to the line. Marcus Smart completes the 3-point play and puts the Celtics, I think, back in the lead by 1 at that point. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Celtics get the ball back, and Mr. Avery Bradley decides, okay, hey, Marc Gasol, you might be 7'1", but I'm just going to take this ball even though I'm 6 foot, and I'm going to shoot it right in your face from 18 feet away, and guess what? Swoosh, there you go. Celtics win. Can't believe it.
Like, what the hell is going on? This team of misfits goes against the team that is the best team in the NBA, points against, averaging-wise, and they win. Like, I don't understand this Droz at all. I really don't. I mean, a great call by Brad Stevens there. Called that timeout after Zach Randolph put them up by 2. They make that play. You're right. Courtney Lee comes in. And what does Courtney Lee do? He fouls Smart, but that was an awesome play call. I will continue this every single week, but I really hope Brad Stevens goes nowhere. But it's finally, this team, after like 30-something acquisitions, he can finally be like, oh my God, I don't have to worry about a new dude coming in that can actually like coach a little bit. But like you said, you got Thomas that goes down, and I just feel like this team of misfits is just doing amazing things. It's a fun team to watch. They compete on a nightly basis. which shouldn't be an issue when it comes to the professionals, but we all know how that is, especially in the NBA. This team is young. They're all fighting because they're fighting to make their names set out there. Brandon Bass has been playing out of his mind lately. I don't know if you mentioned him yet, but Brandon Bass has been phenomenal, and he's another guy that is a Jav. He's just, just another guy, a Jag. Excuse me, not a Jav, a Jag. And Jay Crowder, another guy, hitting a huge three-pointer last night. They fell down by 3. I'm like, oh, here they go. 20-second timeout. They come out. You got Evan Turner finding Jay Crowder. He hits a 3. It's just amazing to see, especially against the third-best team record-wise in the NBA. And Memphis had everybody there last night. There was not one guy there where you could say, oh, they didn't have that guy. And we were all without, like you said, our budding star on our team, Isaiah Thomas. He goes down the night before and 2 nights before in Miami and has an injured back. And what do? We freaking beat Memphis. Like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody's betting on the Celtics to beat Memphis in that game. Even though it was in Boston, I can't imagine anybody thought the Celtics would win that game. It was close all game. But as I said to Mattious off air, when I was watching the game, I was getting ready to go into work. And I had a pizza. And I spit out the pizza 3 times off 3 plays, off Crowder's 3, off Smart's inbound, whatever, smash and 1, and then Bradley sticking it in Gasol's face. I literally was like, I can't believe this. My jaw just dropped 3 times in a minute at the end of that Memphis game. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Just completely amazing. And you look at the players, and once again, sixth men everywhere, whatever you want to call these guys, or misfits, maybe that is a better word. Maybe they're not sixth men. Maybe they're better than that. I don't know. It's just amazing. It's amazing how they're playing. Brad Stevens, I'm completely with you, Mattious. Get him. Just make sure he doesn't go anywhere. I don't think he is, but whatever. Do not go anywhere, Brad Stevens. Please don't leave. And the Celtics, they beat Miami too. Miami is a huge win because that's the team that they're trailing by a game and a half for the final playoff spot. Only 1 game back behind them in the loss column.
Yeah, you just stole my thunder a little bit. I was going to say that. They beat Miami right before this game. It's and I didn't expect them to win it either. I really didn't. You look at this team and I just keep saying, how the heck are they doing this? And this team's a resilient bunch. They're not a good team, but they're fun to watch. I will not deny it. They're not good, but they really are fun to watch. They play hard for this team, and that's what you want to see out of this Celtics team. You want to see them fighting. Okay, they know they have a chance. I love Marcus Smart's attitude. The guy looks like every single game out there is like his last game, and that's how he plays. That's why I liked him. I liked him at Oklahoma State. He had a couple loose screw moments, but they're college kids. You and me, Droz, we've had our loose screw moments too, but we didn't even get on TV. We weren't on TV, so no one knew about him besides our friends. But Smart has come in here, and he plays tough. And not only that, he is excellent on defense already. And that's a tough thing to teach in the NBA. As a team, the Celtics suck. They have nobody in the middle. We could argue that without Sullinger, it does hurt. My boy Tyler Zeller, who he also had a game-winning hoop on this streak since one of the last times I blew him up. Sorry, Tyler. But with that being said, they don't have that ferocious type of interior guy that they need. And looking forward, that's the big thing that's missing from this team. I was really excited with the possibility of JaVale McGee coming in because he's a big dude. He's really athletic. He could help out on the defensive board, and something happened. Contractually, he wanted at least 2 years, and the Celtics said no to that. So I was a little disappointed that didn't happen. I think that guy is something that is definitely a guy who could have helped out this team of 6 men. But the Celtics, they're winning these games that they shouldn't be winning. Every game that those last 2 that we talked about, you got Miami favored in the game, and then you got Memphis favored by like 6.5, 7 points last night. Well, that's one of the best teams in the NBA, and the Celtics are pulling this out. And you're right, Avery Bradley's stepping it up. Not a guy that you would feel like hitting that shot. And
exactly. You don't expect him to shoot that shot at all. I scream no, and he hits it. That's the last guy you expect taking a jumper from 18 feet out, contested by the freaking center, a huge center. It's one
of the best defenders in the league. You have defending you, and you're right. I'm like, hey, brick. or no, yes. One of those things when you're watching as a fan, you're like, yes, or no, and then yes, like, glad it went in.
It's confusing.
How the hell in God's name why in God's name are you, Avery Bradley, shooting it? But you look around, and without our guy Thomas, who I kept saying was probably the go-to guy, who's going to shoot the shot? And Avery Bradley really stepped up. He wanted it. He took it. He shot it with confidence, and it went in. And the Celtics somehow knock off one of the best teams in the league. I don't care if it's at home or not. That's one of the best teams in the NBA.
And I gotta harp on this again. Marcus Smart had one basket going into that final shot, that inbounds play, and he nailed his free throw. He nailed it. He just nailed it. And he said after the game, he's like, you know what? I felt like I owed it to the team to hit that free throw and finish off that play, because everybody else has been doing it with all these clutch wins that they've had. And you can go back to the Portland game or the Atlanta game or what game? I forget what Isaiah Thomas, one of the games a couple ago. And then obviously this game. Just they've been winning a lot of close games. And Smart's like, I didn't want to be the guy to let down this team. So he nails the free throw. And that free throw is a huge free throw.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, back to the so with the upcoming schedule here, you got the Celtics facing Orlando at home. A team that they just unfortunately lost to down there. I watched that one too. That was lovely. I feel like they kind of choked that game, but 3 important games coming up, and then you go at a team that's really, really hot. You go face the Indiana Pacers, who currently have the tied for the longest win streak in the NBA with the San Antonio Spurs, win 6 in a row. And Indiana is a team. Indiana, pronounce your A, Matt. Is a team that you're chasing. They are in that 7th spot ahead of Miami. So another critical game, and you follow up by the team of Philadelphia, who just keeps drafting guys who are hurt because they want to lose. So 3 games coming up here that are important. So as fans here, we got the Bruins with the 3 important to see if they fit in. Are they really going to take that next step because they're facing the better teams? And then you got the Celtics kind of needed wins because they want to keep pushing towards that 8th spot, and they're facing teams that they should win. So it's going to be.
I don't know if you can ever say should win with the Celtics.
Well, Droz, come on. They should win against Orlando and Philly at home. They will be favored in those games. They should win those games. You can.
I guess they should.
Yes,
but
you can say should with the Celtics. They're not as bad as Philly or Orlando. Philly and Orlando, by the statistics, are 2 of the worst teams in the NBA. Okay, especially Philadelphia. They won 14 games this year. That is a goddamn joke. All right, and like I said earlier, I feel like they keep trying to lose. Like, why are you trading Michael Carter-Williams? We're not going to go into Philly talk though, because they'll probably end up with the lottery pick and pick another big man in Okafor because they're crazy. But Indiana, they shouldn't win that game, and they should have been Orlando and Philly. So with that being said, they'll probably lose to Philly, beat Orlando, and beat Indiana.
Yeah, well, you never know. And see, Indiana, to me, though, is the team that's not going to fall out. They will keep their spot in the playoffs because Paul George should come back at some point soon. And when he comes back, I mean, with them already having the longest winning streak in the NBA at this point, I think they're figuring it out with players with other players, Solomon Hill being one guy that's stepped up somewhat. They're figuring out how to win without George right now. And that's a huge thing because now George comes back. And if he is anything like he was, even 50% of, I'll say, even 70% of what he was last season, you're getting an amazing player. So I think Indiana is definitely going to make the playoffs. That means there's one playoff spot up for grabs. That's between Charlotte, Brooklyn, Boston, and Miami. I don't like Miami's chances because I don't like Miami's players staying on the floor, being either Dwayne Wade or Luol Deng. I mean, they have injury histories. And then you got Goran Dragic was even out for a game. I don't know what the hell that was. So, and obviously Bosch is out for the season, sadly. So that Miami, I don't like them. Then you got Brooklyn, and they make no sense. Apparently, I know a guy who's a huge Nets fan, and he just keeps telling me that Lionel Hollins is too much of a hard ass, and that's why they can't win with him as the coach, because he's just pissed off everybody.
Yes, we talked about that before on the show, Droz. Remember how I said how the hell do you go and take Memphis to like the conference finals, and then you get fired? Like, something is up with that. That guy, something is going on with him. So I like it, though. Stay in Brooklyn. You know why? Because we got a lot of draft picks coming up. keep this guy. Hopefully the team implodes next year so we get an excellent pick. That's fine by me because, seriously, like, what the hell is going on with this Lionel Hollins guy? How can he go? Like, he must be so stubborn that it's either his way or the highway, because you don't take a team to that finals and then magically, poof, you're fired. Like, seriously, that doesn't happen. The only possible team or place that happens to is in the NHL, because NHL coaches, I feel like, fly everywhere. And I know Jim Harbaugh, he brought his team to all those conference things, but maybe it's like him. Maybe Hollins is like Harbaugh, and he's a stubborn SOB, and he doesn't get along with management, and that's what happens. But yeah, hopefully he can stay there and keep screwing up for us. That'd be great.
Exactly. And Brooklyn right now, so I don't see Brooklyn getting out of this spot, because basically someone's in the doghouse, someone new's in the doghouse every day for Hollins.
No.
So essentially they just can't, they don't get the same starting lineup. I forget how many, 30 different starting lineups this season for the Nets, and they haven't really made trades like the Celtics. They've just been throwing people in and out. I mean, he was in love with Miles Plumlee apparently, and hated Brook Lopez. Now he hates Plumlee and likes Lopez and whatever. I mean, there's so many things going on there. So, but the point is, they're in the playoff race. I don't think they get in. Then you have Detroit. They just keep losing for whatever reason. So I don't think Detroit can get in any longer. And then Charlotte. Charlotte's the team above Boston. Boston's beat Charlotte last week. So I think Boston can beat Charlotte. So you know what? I actually think the Boston, out of all the teams left, has the best chance to get that 8th playoff seed over Miami, Charlotte, Detroit, and Brooklyn. I think Boston's the best team.
I mean, anybody could put up an argument. Valid points all the way around when it comes to all those teams. I agree with you. I don't think Indiana's going anywhere, especially if Paul George is coming back. They seem to be getting hot at the right time. Miami, they have their injury issues, I feel like, all the time. So with that being said, who the heck knows? Maybe Dwayne Wade will go down. We don't know, because it's possible with that guy. I look at the remaining schedule for the Celtics. It's really doesn't seem that bad. I got an at San Antonio on there, at Oklahoma City, but after that, there are a lot of Eastern Conference games. They got 2 at Cleveland, but we know how the East is. The East is weak, so it's going to be interesting to see here down the stretch. I'm going to continue to keep on saying that I don't think they're going to get in. I think Miami will get that last spot, but if I had to pick, I think between these teams, the Celtics are going to be that team that's going to be giving Miami a run for their money down the stretch, and I hope they get in. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not. Hopefully Thomas's injury isn't that bad, but this team keeps fighting. You never know what's going to happen, because they keep on winning games that they shouldn't win. They've won 4 of their last 5, and they've beaten New Orleans on the road, Miami on the road, and then one of the best teams in the NBA, Memphis, in throwing Utah, who sucks, and they only beat them once. But this team is doing things I didn't think they would do, and hopefully it continues. I hope it does.
Yeah, I hope it continues for them and the Bruins, and we're going to see in this upcoming week a lot. We're going to learn a lot over this upcoming week what those two teams have in them. And whether or not they will be able to make runs. Well, I don't think runs for the Celtics, but make the playoffs, and then maybe for the Bruins make a run in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like I said before, I think they can still win the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
And I'm going with
keep
that.
Drinking that cuckoo juice. That's all right. But you're right. Valid point. We got very important week coming up for both teams. Not only that team, those 2 teams, but an important week possibly for the Patriots, because you never know what they're going to do. It is free agency. It's possible that the next time we talk to you here on the Boston Sports Brew that they made a big move, because that's the Patriots. You never know what they're going to do.
No, you never know what the Patriots are going to do, and that's the whole thing. And for that matter, we don't even know who's available. They could be some kind of trade that who knows what Belichick's doing. I thought it was funny the other day they sent one of their scouts down to Rutgers. Of course, to Rutgers, who in football I think maybe won like 3 games, and he's scouting everybody. They're like, oh, is the new cornerback in Rutgers? Because obviously they have all their defensive backs are from Rutgers. But
yeah, Nick Caserio is there, and I mean, here on the Boston Sports Brew, unfortunately, as of right now, Droz and I are doing this as a tape show. But as we speak to you here on 312, I'm reading that the Patriots signed a free agent linebacker, Jonathan Freeney, who is a 6'4",
White Freeney?
6'2", 200. Yep, Freeney. Okay, he's a distant relative. Yeah, we don't even wish Dwight Freeney anymore because he is on a little too old. But he's a distant relative of former Indy pass rusher Dwight Freeney. Last year, he's played 3 years in the NFL, all on the Dolphins. He's only accumulated 42 tackles, so we're not really talking about the greatest guy here. But guess what, Droz? Guess where he's coming from? Guess where he played in college?
Was he a Rutgers guy?
Oh, isn't that amazing? Another Rutgers guy, so add him to the list.
That's like where I work. Everybody's from Rutgers. The one person that's in charge is from Rutgers, and so everybody that I work with is from Rutgers.
But back to
Rutgers.
Oh, the Rutgers people. Yep, the Jersey boys, Jersey people down there. But
the Jersey boys.
The NFL has been absolutely insane, and I know we're Boston Sports, but let's just talk about that here, wrapping up the show. The NFL has gone nuts. We got Jimmy Graham. I hate you, Jimmy Graham, because you killed my fantasy team, but I don't really hate you. You're the number two tight end in the league behind our boy Gronk, has gone from the Saints to almost like a rival, like Seattle. Like, what the heck? Like, you've seen crazy stuff going on. You got Haloti Ngata going from Baltimore, which is good for us, to Detroit. You got Shady McCoy. You got Foles going one way. You got Bradford going another way. You got DeMarco Murray signing, and Ryan Matthews going to Philadelphia, which is fascinating to me because that's the Chip Kelly and the run offense. The NFL has, you got Roger Goodell sitting back there probably like, finally, we're just talking about the NFL now, and we'll talk about that stupid thing known as the Flakegate next show because I'm sick of that crap. How do they not come out and say anything about that? But the NFL is really going nuts here in free agency. It's unbelievable, all the stuff that keeps popping up on my phone, and I feel like I'm like in control of the NFL. Back in the day, playing our sports games, and you could just trade randomly away. That's how I feel like it is, Droz, right now. You got guys going all over the place. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like fantasy trades. I mean, honestly, big names, and they're flying to way off distant places you just don't expect. Like you said, DeMarco Murray. What in the world? I don't know. So many crazy things. LaShawn McCoy in Buffalo. Jimmy Graham going to the Seahawks. You're right. That does blow my mind. I understand the center's nice and Breeze has been sacked a lot, but for gosh sakes, who's he going to throw it to? I don't know. I have no clue.
Unbelievable. The NFL never fails. Never fails us. It really doesn't. And I'm serious. Like, Goodell's probably sitting there like, finally good stuff. After all the crap that's happened in the NFL this year, it takes the spotlight off of him finally. And I still think that overpaid, painted jackass should be fired because anybody who performs as poorly as he does, or with any job, most of the time you're gonna get fired. And I said this before: you sucked at your job. If I sucked at my job, you're gone. All right. And because he's making all these millions and billions of freaking dollars for these owners, they probably won't get rid of him, and he'll be fine. But this past week since free agency has opened up has been outrageous, and it's great. It's great as a fan.
Well, hopefully, and as you said before, hopefully the NFL never fails us, and hopefully we never fail you. Thanks again for listening to another edition of the Boston Sports Brew. Keep liking our Facebook page and checking us out at BOS.
Hey, you got it right, buddy.
BOS Sports Brew on Twitter. Tweet us, tell us anything you want to do about that. We will have the show up on iTunes next week. That is underway. We'll also have a website coming along, and anything else that you want to do. Hopefully at some point we'll get everyone involved and have it so you can all call in and talk with us and have some more participation in this show. So it's not just Mattious and I jawing away at each other.
Exactly, and like I keep telling you listeners, this show's for you guys. I mean, Droz and I love talking about our sports, but it's for you guys, and this show is going to continue to grow. We're starting off here nice and slow, but like Droz said, iTunes next week. As time goes on, we're going to get that website, and then we're definitely going to have live callers coming up probably late in the summertime. But baby steps. Join this train now, because once this train gets going, it's going to be going pretty quick, guaranteed.
Our goal is to break the internet, so just know that. All right, but folks, anyways, thank you once again for listening to another edition of the Boston Sports Brew. For Mattious, I'm Droz. Have a great week.